painting show was hung just this week, so I hadn't, the work was shipped and I hadn't seen it, so it's interesting now to see it in a different context, because usually I see it in the studio where things are more complicated and less easy to understand or see, and it's kind of a thrill to be here and see it in this, with daylight, which is also fantastic, and coming from Montreal, where it's always stormy and snow blowing around, and to be in a warm place is kind of fantastic. So, and the smaller works in the exhibition I'm particularly interested in, partly because we moved in 2008 to a different place, so where usually I've worked in a very large studio, like a sort of white cube type studio, and these were done in a one-bedroom apartment, really, on an easel, so they're in a sense easel paintings, which sort of is something that I've always wanted to get back to. And the larger ones in the exhibition were done in the other studio, so it's just a different way of looking at things, and in a sense I've always loved the sort of tradition or the history of painting, I suppose, and I'm not uncomfortable with the word beautiful, and I think paintings can be very beautiful, so as well as being bombastic or difficult or whatever, I think it's important that you have that range, but I have a lot of respect for the history, and I don't think of myself as an artist, but I think of myself as a painter, and I think that I feel the distinction is very important. There's many people make art, and chefs are artists, and pizza makers, and piano tuners, and what have you. The term has become kind of empty, but I think, and I suppose a painter could also be someone who paints houses or whatever, but the idea appeals to me that it's a very kind of an enclosed world, where you commit yourself to that idea and then it's your life, and basically that's what I haven't veered very far away from that, although I'm interested in music and I've always loved doing improvised music, and so that's another component, and it's a different feeling, but in a sense you get immediate feedback in music. In art you spend hours and days alone, so that's a very different kind of opposite thing, but I like seeing people, so openings are always great, and you get a sense of how people feel about the work. And
what's difficult for you?
Well, the small ones are difficult to take seriously, because they look quaint and beautiful, and so I'm always worried that are they really forceful enough, I suppose, because the scale is different. But I mean, if you look at a Vermeer painting or something, they're usually very small and they're very packed full of beautiful stuff, so. And a big painting is much more demanding, because you have to essentially the space has to be controlled in some ways. So there's a lot of technical issues and paint drying and things like that, where in a small one gesture occupies a lot of space, so it's more difficult to do a large painting, but I think because they're different, you sort of need a change once in a while, otherwise it's just, I can't do the same thing every day. So, and the large ones are physical, and more tactile just by their nature, but the physicality is interesting, because you have to reach and get exhausted and tired and all of that, where when you're sitting at an easel, it's a very different process, more methodical and more more like reading a book. It's kind of in your lap, so to speak, where with a large painting, you have to walk back and forth, and you have to view it from far away, and all of that, so it's quite different. And anyway, it's good to be here. You're welcome. Thank you very much.